Hello, 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 hello. Let me wait a few minutes to see if someone will come. Some people will show up. Hi, hi, hi. Anyone on Beacon of Hope group? I had said I would come here around 11 p.m. I hope I'll get some notifications. Let me see if I can tag some people. Hi, Ingrid. Hi, lady. Thank you for watching my previous video. I had done it on another site. So this is going to be interesting because this is the first time I'm gonna talk about this in a public forum, but it's time. Hi, Shadrach Maura. Thank you for supporting. I don't know how to tag people. I wish I knew how to tag people on here. Shadi, kuna watu naweza tag? Just gonna give it a couple minutes to see if anyone else joins us. Ebeneza, jiwe langu.
Ninataka maisha yangu yajengwe juu yako. Ninataka ndoa yangu ijengwe juu yako Baba. Ndoa zilizojengwa juu yako Yawe hazivunjiki kamwe. Nyumba zilizojengwa juu yako Yawe hazivunjiki kamwe.
Shadi, can you tag? Do you know how to share? Hi, Kristen Bright. I went to school with her. Are you in Wisconsin, Kristen? I've only been here for 2 minutes. I'm just waiting to see if anyone else will come. I think, Shadi, you hit share, the share button, and you can tag people that you would like to come in. Or I think it says, yeah, I think it tells you to tag. Minnesota! How is Minnesota? Jiwe langu. This song is by Angela Chibolonza. She's a woman that lived in, I think she's from Central Africa. Maybe Zaire, I'm not sure. But it's a Christian talk that talks about how God is the rock and how this far she has come and how she wants to thank the Lord for her life. It's in Swahili and Kikongo, I think. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start because I know you guys are here on time, so I'll go and start. Go ahead and start. Let me pause this. Okay, so thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you wherever you may be. I know it's just 3 of you, but I know that there'll be people who will come and watch at a later time on a rebroadcast. So my name is Faith, and I'm first and foremost a child of God. I am a wife. I am a mother to 3 beautiful children, and all in all, I can say I'm just like all of you. I'm a sojourner in this beautiful place called Earth, this beautiful planet. Before I start officially, I did want to draw your attention if you haven't seen all the lighthouses on this page. It's kind of overkill by lighthouses, right? But I love lighthouses, and I have a quote that I wanted to read at the onset of this page, or the welcome video for this page. A lighthouse, this is something I found online. A lighthouse has no purpose in the daytime, but at night, in the darkness, it becomes a beacon of hope for the lost. What purpose does your gift, your pain, your condition serve if expressed only among those who have no need for it? You can't save the lost if you find company only among those who have already been found. Remember, darkness exists only in the absence of your light. So become that beacon because someone somewhere desperately needs your light. So in my life journey so far, I won't say my age, I have come to expect times of ups and downs, times when life issues, just like the currents, have their ebbs and flows, and we're faced with, moments of fear, moments of faith, moments of doubt, moments of victory. I mean, that's just what life is. But in every situation, everything that I've gone through, I can say that the hand of God has been on my life. So I hope that has been the same for those of you who are listening as well. So why this site? 5 years ago, the words beacon of hope, exactly the way they're spelled out on this platform, came into my spirit. This happened during a time when I was slowly emerging from what I can only describe as a deep depression. I can't say I had clinical depression. It was just depression, overwhelming sadness, grief, the type of sadness that kind of makes you just exist and move from day to day, but you're not really functioning, or at least highly functioning. During that time, it was a time when I was utterly devastated when we were informed, my husband and I, that my son, who was, at that time he was 3 years old, and I was on maternity leave actually with my third born, that my son had all the classic indicators of a pervasive developmental disorder. So at that time, because I was on maternity leave and I finally had a chance to kind of be in the house with him and interact with him more closely, like pretty much from the moment he woke up till the time he was going to sleep, I started noticing some little bit of oddities in him. And the fact that he had not acquired speech, he was not responding to his name, he had a lot of sensory issues in terms of diet, he had behavioral issues going as well, he had no eye contact, he was exhibiting many of the classic signs of autism. So though not officially diagnosed, I was really unfamiliar with that label or diagnosis and what it all entails, especially when it comes to children. So I immediately went into Google and I was Googling all these terms, and I was completely floored because he had exactly all the signs and symptoms that they have been right in front of me, and I had never even realized it. So I had just never put it all together. And I even remember seeing on my refrigerator at that time, I had one of those magnets that says autism awareness, and then it has all these signs, and I had never even focused on it enough to see the signs and that these signs were manifesting in my house. So at the onset, like all good parents do, we did everything we knew how to get him into the correct services. So we got him into the State Child Watch Development Program. We helped facilitate him having the home therapy services. We went out of state and got like a specialized DAN doctor, the diet and nutrition doctor. What else did we do? We removed all kinds of dietary things from his diet. We started him on different supplements that the doctors had, the diet and nutrition doctor had told us about. And then we just continued to research and research and research. And what was devastating to me was that everywhere I looked, when I looked for treatments, when I looked for recovery, I couldn't find any indications of any hope, right? So I was looking on websites, and all I could see was medical journals and articles and things that were just saying, the technology has not arrived to the point where we can say there's a treatment for autism or for pervasive developmental delays or disorders. It's a brain issue, and there's no brain transplant. I mean, you're the brain. So he was diagnosed as at that time, we went to a psychologist, we went to different specialists, and basically they said, okay, he has developmental delays. They did not label him with the autism label. And we didn't, frankly, we tried our best not to have a label because we did not want to see him differently. And, you know, we knew they said, you know, he had behavioral issues. He definitely had challenges in speech, in terms of expressive speech, in terms of receptive speech, and all of that. So my husband and I, we began to live with that new fear. You know, the type of fear that's the worst kind, where you begin to take off your list the dreams and the hopes you had for your children's future. And we were scoring website after website, looking for a glimmer of hope, anything that would negate what people were telling us in terms of this being incurable. I was pretty much paralyzed with fear and hopelessness. I could not sleep. I could not eat. I became anxious. You know, I blamed myself for the issues. And I was completely scared to death because I was being told that my son, now my third born, the baby, that he too could also face the same fate, the same issue. So, you know, and once actually my now 5-year-old, he later on when he turned 2 and we started seeing that he was not catching up in terms of speech and having kind of similar types of issues as my now 7-year-old, we did immediately, earlier than the previous one, send him to early intervention services. So anyway, during that time of my deep depression, I remember my husband saying, you know, you really need to go see a therapist. You need to see someone because it appears that you could be in danger, could be a danger to yourself and to others. That's what he told me. So I didn't. But how did I emerge from this? This is how I emerged from this. Is one early morning, very early morning, I had gone through yet another restless night. Okay, this had become my new normal for months. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. I would wake up in the middle of the night and my mind would be filled with anxieties and fear. However, that one morning I turned on the TV and it was TBN, and it was this preacher. I don't know if you all know him, but his name is Andrew Womack, and he has this program called The Gospel Truth. And it could have been any preacher, I suppose, but for that morning, in that day, given my level of, you know, where my feelings, my emotions, I wasn't in a place where I could have listened to T.D. Jakes or someone who was all hype and the charisma. This guy, all he has usually is just a Bible, and he just flips pages. And he's very dry, but he just preaches the word of God, truth after truth after truth. And that's all he does. And I guess that's what I needed that day. So I watched it, and he had just started a series called The Power of Faith-Filled Words. And that day I had a huge aha moment. And the aha moment was that in everything that was going on with my kids, I had completely forgotten God. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. You have a problem and you completely forget everything you've learned, everything you've been tied to since Sunday school. You immediately go to self, you go to ego, you go to the humans around you, you go to the medical doctors, and that's who you're believing. Every report they give you, that's what you believe in. So I was like, how did I forget God? How did I forget the scriptures that spoke about faith? How did I even forget my own name that says faith? I'm called Faith. So how could I even forget my own name? So immediately faith began to rise up inside of me as I listened to him speaking about the power of words, the power of faith-filled words, and life and death being in the power of the tongue. And immediately I woke up and I said, this is it. You know, I am going to stop focusing on the negativity, stop focusing on anybody that's talking negatively into my life, stop focusing on all the horrible reports, and indeed start to believe that the Bible said, beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and you may be in health, even as your souls prospers. So, I realized that the only words that had been spoken to me really were negative. psychologists coming through the door, therapists coming through the door. They didn't want to give me hope. Even the child watch development specialist, I kept telling her, can you give me names of other parents that have gone through this program that have been successful? No. So my spirit was crashed. I didn't know what to do. But as I say on this page, I finally looked up that one morning, and a light pierced through the darkness. The storm calmed down, and somehow my soul was anchored, and faith guided me out of those waters, out of the storm, and I was able to find my source of hope. Hope through the power of faith-filled words. Hope by negating the negativity that was coming at me. I was so crazy. Like, if people came in and told me anything about my child that was negative, I would immediately rebuke it. Not rebuke it like I rebuke it, you know. I would just say the opposite of that, or make it into a positive statement. Like, I would just say, no, I'm seeing progress. No, he has expressive speech. No, he's not going to be nonverbal. He's going to speak. No, I know he can understand what it is I'm saying. He has receptive speech. So that's how my path began to be illuminated, and that's how I emerged. I finally emerged, and the words beacon of hope were spoken into my spirit during that time. The words, to me, they indicated somehow that through my situation, through my life, through the lives of those who are connected to me, I would help connect others to hope, to that missing critical piece that is hope, that would help them pull their eyes up and see that they were not alone in a situation, that they had a higher purpose, that they had a higher source to go to, right? So really, this is why I started this beacon of hope. And I know already I've had some people who have reached out to me saying, hey, I have a story of hope that I want to share. Okay, I shouldn't be surprised, because that's what God does. I wrote this down five years ago. And let me tell you, the reason why I haven't activated or done what it is I was asked to do during that time, number one, I said, how am I going to tell people about hope when I'm still in it? You know, I don't really have a testimony to say. I'm not sure that I even have the hope to speak it yet, or you know, the courage to go out and speak it. This is not just my story. It's the story of my husband. It's the story of my family. It's the story of my kids. If I say something, then all of a sudden people will be looking at me and saying, oh, you know, what's wrong with your child? Is there something going on with your kid? And have him labeled, or give him a certain, start looking at him different, or treating him different. So that's one of the main reasons why I was like, look, I can't, you know, God is telling me, speak about hope. Tell people about being encouraged, but at the same time, I was in it, and so I was not ready. So back to my story. My son is 7 now, almost 8 years old, and let me tell you, people, he has made so much progress. He has an amazing personality. He is super intelligent. He's super loving. He has an inquisitive mind. He has a huge smile, a great sense of humor. I could go on listing all these attributes that he has. He also happens to have an educational classification of autism, but we have been and we continue to be on that road to recovery, because they told us he would be nonverbal. They told us he would never write. Like, we would give him a pen, he could hardly hold the pen. Like, they had to give him little stubs for him to kind of develop a grip so he could write something. The other day, I actually was in the kitchen, and there's a little, like a paragraph or two. He wrote a whole paragraph, a story about Christmas break, I think. And you know how you're kind of going on through life and you forget how far God has brought you, or how far God has brought your child. And I broke down crying, because I remembered that the words that he would not be able to write, and here he is writing and articulating, this is what I did over Christmas break. And he has a handwriting, he has a firm grip, and his fingers, and he can grip the pen. And I was like, look at God, look at God. So I'm saying, both kids are doing great. The huge vocabulary acquisition. They have struggles here and there, but just like other kids also have struggles here and there. They're making progress every day. The youngest was recently released from his IEP through the school district. because he went through a preschool program that kind of helps kids that are struggling with speech and any developmental delays. And he's now actually he's going to regular mainstream kindergarten, and he's going to be in a Chinese immersion program. And we are so proud of them. So my hope is one day to tell this story, or for them to tell this story, because I'm already telling it, and for it to be a testimony for them, because I do not limit what God can do and will do through them. And an additional hope is that through their experience and the experience of this family is that they will have greater sensitivity to people who have the same struggles or who have life challenges, right? So back to this community, because I don't want to take too much of your Friday evening. So this community, to me, and I know the vision is going to develop. I have some people that are helping me with that. It's basically my attempt, and I will get it done, a place to, first of all, connect and share with others what you've experienced in your life in terms of the miraculous, the wonders, the supernatural, the unexplainable, the healing, the God moments in your life and those of others. Sharing your stories, your turnaround experiences may give a glimmer of hope to someone who is looking for that hope. Ask yourself, what have you gone through, and who needs to be connected to your story of hope? You may just be the beacon of hope that someone else in life today is looking for. So please join me in this group to share your experiences. That's all I ask for you. Is it much? Is it much? I know it's not. It's hard because you do have to be vulnerable. But I know the power of hope because I've been there. When I was on Google looking for hope and looking and I was looking actually for more than hope, you know, because there are people who actually are looking for a doctor's report or a cure or something tangible. But when you're told incurable, no brain transplants are ever done, and that kind of language is told to you, you're now looking for the miraculous, right? You're looking for the supernatural. You're looking for those people who can say, my child was healed. My child was healed, because you're so desperate at that point to just hear something. And I actually, when I first started this group, I was like, should I make it a group about just special needs children? You know, people who are going through that. But all pain is pain. You know, any condition that you're going through, be it's cancer, be it depression, be it mental health, be it whatever, anything that you have gone through and have a testimony, you have a hope. You can say, if it weren't for God in my life, if it weren't for hope through this person or some other source, I would not be here today. I would not have received that hope. So join me in that quest. If you know people that are looking to give hope, to share hope, bring them. Let's start an incubator of testimonies and stories that will help bolster people. So when people go on Google, because at the end of the day, I want to have a website that people can go in and it will have conditions A to Z and people's testimonials of God's faithfulness with that condition, God's healing in that condition. Somebody, you can tell your story. You can tell your story of someone you were taking care of, someone who you're connected to that's willing to share that story. I have a page and a group. In the meantime, those who have reached out to me and are saying, I want to post in the public interface of Beacon of Hope, I will take the 2-3 paragraphs that you give me. If you can send me 2-3 paragraphs and an image, that's what I'll be doing day to day as I receive stories. And I believe those stories will start coming and we can start being a repository of stories. When I have the website, I'll put them on the website. When I have a YouTube channel, I'll put them on the YouTube channel. That's the dream. That's the vision. I'm not selling anything. Susie, anything. I'm not selling anything except hope. So I don't know if anybody has any questions as I wind down on this. Please ask away if you have anything. But for the most part, that was my story. I am a beacon of hope for parents who have kids that have special needs or have had that diagnosis or whatever diagnosis. I am a beacon of hope for that. And that's what I will title this video. And that's what I want the rest of you to do. If you have any condition that you would like to tell your story, and I understand the vulnerability that comes from it, so only do it if you're called to do it. This is a private group you can share here, or I have the public interface that I'll be posting on and sharing those stories. If you have people you want to invite, tag your friends, invite them, people who are positive. All I ask is that this group is just a positive space. And I know I'll have to develop some guidelines around positivity and who gets allowed, who doesn't. But for now, I'm just saying, add people, share the page, like the group. I'm new to Facebook. Not really new to Facebook, but I'm new to this whole page stuff and group stuff. So otherwise, I don't see any questions. So I'm just going to say thank you all and have an awesome Friday, and God bless you. You can inbox me if you have any further questions. God bless you. Bye.